Every weekend, I drive a truck for Clean Harbor. Now make no mistake, it's hard work. It takes a lot of focus, and you have to know your vehicle's limitations. And more than anything, you have to drive to win.
Nice driving, Thad. If you want to drive for a winning team, give Clean Harbors a call at 1-833-32-DRIVE. Visit driveforthebest.com. They have the vehicles and the compensation for every kind of truck driver. And everyone drives home a winner.
We're at a commercial break.
Welcome to the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series, Round 8 of the Trans Am TA2 Championship from Nashville, Tennessee. Music City, Scott Borchetta, the man behind the vision of this event. And as you can see, we're in a rather special place here in Nashville, right by the track. It's just across the river. But Scott, we're in the Borchetta Distillery, the Big Machine Distillery, for a big announcement. What's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here at Big Machine on 3rd, Big Machine Distillery, 3rd Avenue, heart of Nashville, and so proud that we have our 3rd Big Machine Music City Grand Prix happening this weekend. And because of my injury, I'm going to join you in the booth this week. And also, I know we use an Andretti often in the booth. I have an upgrade.
Okay.
I have the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The greatest one. I have the Andretti, Mario Andretti.
And Mario, they're honoring you this year with a Borchetta bourbon. A great honor.
Great honor indeed, yes. It's quite the tribute, obviously. I know I'm in good shape for a while now.
What I love is the Andrettis, whoever they are all still racing. You're doing two-seaters, I know. Marco's out there. Michael's running teams. Adam's in our championship. Do you ever watch the Trans Am Championship, and Adam?
Of course. Yes, I do. And actually, he's not just the driving. I think he's quite good at announcing, actually.
We think he is, yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's actually done some with you, right?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So you can see that I'm watching it.
Well, I know all the race fans here in Nashville are delighted for you to be here, and I know that Scott's absolutely tickled pink. Scott, let's turn to the racing. This track, you never knew coming in what it was going to be like,
right,
but it's turned out to be superb, and the upgrades around the track have certainly helped as well. You were on the podium here last year.
Yes.
How do you see the race this year? Obviously, the man to beat is Brent Cruz. He is flying at the moment, and he's already won Street Circuit in Detroit and last year.
Well, that's what I love about street circuits. You know, it's who are those guys that can bring a lot of speed, but also are super meticulous. Braking is everything, braking and rolling speed here. And, you know, we had a great race last year, and, you know, to put it all together, you got to stay off the walls. There's a lot of very narrow places at this track. There are a couple of places literally where you can't get two cars.
Controlled aggression.
Controlled aggression. There it is. I'm trying to say all this stuff. He does it in 2 words, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, it was funny. Last year, I was talking to a couple of the drivers. No, this was the first year, 2021, and they're complaining. Mario walks up and he goes, "Stop complaining. The track's perfect. Go race."
Perfect.
Yeah, indeed. It's there for everyone. And actually, from my standpoint, you know, you talk about the bumps and all of that sort of thing. I think psychologically, I feel that can be, if you can actually conquer that aspect of it, you feel you have an advantage. So psychologically, I think that gives you something to go for. And anybody can drive a very smooth area. Anyone can do that. So embrace the challenges.
Drive like Andretti is what they say. Great to have Mario here. A fantastic honor from Scott Borchetta. He's joining me in the booth, but let's take a short break. And when we come back, we're going big in Nashville. Join us after the break.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome to Music City. To say I'm excited is an understatement. We are in the heart of the great music capital that is Nashville, Tennessee, and we are going to bring you some muscle car racing. I'm delighted that the man whose vision it was to make this happen is alongside me, Scott Borchetta. Sadly, I know he'd like to be in the car. He was on the podium here last year, but he's here with me in the booth, the closest I could get him to the race itself. Scott, welcome. Third year, got to be pleased.
I'm ecstatic, and it's great to be in the booth with you today, Jonathan. And here we are, the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix 2023, and great car count. The weather has cleared up for us this afternoon, and one of my favorite things about racing on street courses is you get to legally run a red light.
Exactly. Well, look, let's get straight down to the action. You can see we're on the pre-grid already. Let's take a look at the grid for today, and we've got some big news coming up for you. Wait a second, folks. Here we go. Here's the grid. Connor Zilic got pole position, but he's not there. Brent Cruz, his old mate, is actually in pole position. Nathan Hearn, the Australian champion, is alongside him. Then our champion, Thomas Merrill, is on the road too. And our two-time champion, Rafa Matos, is alongside him. Then it's Jay Buford in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers car. Of course, that will be the car that Scott would have run last year. Adrian Lostowski is alongside him. Austin Green and Justin Marks. Further down, Adam Andretti. Big weekend for Adam, obviously often in the booth with me, but a chance to race for Franklin Road Apparel. He gets in to Evan Slater's car number 6. Roy Fulmer from the West Coast is alongside. A chance to go on the national stage. Ben Mayer, the youngster, 14 years of age. Caleb Bacon making his way through. Boris Said Jr., his first street race. And Barry Bowes from Texas. Darren Mock, another youngster for Nitro Motorsports. Chris Leesfield always does this event, and always a chance for him to shine here in Nashville. Thad Moffitt, of course, the grandson of the great Richard Petty. Then Ryan Finney coming in. He's had some Indy Lights flights experience, but he's really coming in here trying out Trans Am for the first time. Eric Caton, Josh Sargé, Parker DeLong, another youngster, his first street race. Danny Bender, Michael Fine, Dean Thompson coming into the championship. He too is new to this form of racing, but has got plenty of experience in ARCA and truck racing. Patrick Paul, Doug Peterson, Bruce Raymond, Matt Parent, Jim Gallagher, Ty Young, and Connor Zilic. That's the story. He had a restrictor plate modification infringement and therefore goes to the back. And I say that rather carefully because that is a big, big no-no in any form of this type of stock car racing.
Absolutely, Jonathan. You know, there's rules for a reason. And, you know, this series is basically a spec series. So, you know, you've got to take care of business.
Now, no question about it. So that's the big story of the day. Zilic starts at the back, but that said, he did it from Detroit when he had an infraction there and still won the race. Let's head down to Ben Sissel.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. You guys are going to like this. I have Sandy Borchetta here, Executive Vice President, Creative, Big Machine Label Group, but also a huge motorsports fan. And I know you've been working really hard. The announcement came out yesterday. Tell us what's happening next year.
Oh my gosh. So next year, it's all roads lead to Nashville for the finale. So mark it on your calendar now. It's going to be fantastic.
And it's going to be through downtown Nashville. I hear going across Broadway. I have no idea how you made that happen.
I didn't make that happen, but there are wizards in this town that can make that happen, and they sure did. And they're still going to go over the bridge and back over the bridge next year, so it'll be super exciting.
Nice. All right, well, Sandy, take the mic and deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
Thank you. So it truly is a great day here in Nashville today, and we want to celebrate all these amazing drivers and teams. They're fantastic. And on behalf of the entire Big Machine Label Group family, we salute our fearless leader, my husband, Scott Borchetta, in his amazing and challenging recovery. So, Scott, in honor of you, drivers, start your engines.
We'll come over here.
As the engines roar, true passion, you can feel it from Sandy there. Absolutely fantastic. We're 5 minutes before the start. We're going to be on board with this exciting young protege from Australia, the Cube 3 on board of Nathan Hearn. And Scott, I know you're not in, but every driver that's sat in the seat next to you hears that command and feels like he's about to go racing.
Oh, it's the best feeling ever. You know, you've been working for weeks now. Our last race was Road America. And so you've had all this time, all this focus. This is arguably the biggest race on the Trans Am 2 series season because we're with the Indy cars. We've got a national spotlight unlike any other. And, you know, to go out here on the streets of Nashville, this is such an exciting time because you've been sitting, you've been waiting. And as soon as you fire up that engine, Jonathan, then you're really in it, and it's time to go racing. I'm getting goosebumps just sitting here watching the in-car of my car, of Jay Buford. And I'm right there with it, and it's so exhilarating. But right here, what you're doing, you know, you're trying to scrub the tires, put some heat in the tires. You're going to notice Jade is on the brakes there. Yep. You want to put heat in the brakes because you don't want to go into that first turn with cold brakes and all of a sudden you've got an issue. And you also want to make sure your brakes are heating at the same time. You want to bring them up to temperature at the same time. So you don't want to just go in and skid or anything. You want to just very specifically get down on the brake and make sure you're putting proper heat into the braking system.
This is one of the toughest parts of the track, right round the back after the bridge, and it's so tight through there. You've really got to have your wits about you, haven't you?
Jonathan, there's not room for two cars there. Yeah. There's only one car going through. So you've got to be really specific and meticulous about your pass. If you're going to get somebody there, you need to be right up alongside of them, or somebody's not going to make it through the corner.
The interesting thing about Jay Buford that I found out, talking to Jade, is that, of course, this is his first time to run here, but he was your crew chief and has been a driver coach. So he told me anyway, that he feels like he knows the track because he's kind of coached you through it.
Yeah, you know, Jade and I are very close and spent a lot of time together. I'm a good road racer, honestly, because of Jade and all the work that we've done together. And so, yeah, he's been able to see it through my eyes. I've been seeing it through his eyes as I've been learning, and he's been seeing it through mine. So we talked a bunch about this. We probably talked more about this race than anything that he's done so far, because we were so good here last year. And understanding, there's a lot of off camber as we go through the turn here. You see where it falls away, and there's still some standing water on the track. So, our spotters have got to be just on point, making sure the guys know what they're getting into. And also there's a lot of blind corners here. Yeah. So your spotter is critical. You've got to be paying attention, and there's very little room for error. You see turn 1 here with the, that chicane. That's tough business right there as they come down the front stretch here right in front of what is the finish line. As they haul into turn 1 here. One of my favorite passes last year is when I passed Rafa Matos going into turn 1. Because again, you're not going to go side by side. So if you're on the inside and you've come up far enough along your competitor, you've got the line, and he's got to do something about it.
Yeah, and you were saying to me that before we went on air that also you're coming up to that critical turn 3, which takes you over the bridge. You need critical drive out of there, and it's tricky.
Yeah. Do we have a problem here? Looks like somebody's slowing down.
Is that Lostowski? Well, he's got it going. It looked as though he lost power, and it is. It's Slater and Lostowski in the Hawk Performance car. Just looking at the championship points, an important race this for both Rafa Matos and Thomas Merrill. They, if you like, are our older gentlemen compared to these kids. Brent Cruz, just 15 years of age. Connor Zilic turning 17 in July. We'll also be on board with the ASIO data car at Barry Bowes. Yeah, talking about coming over this bridge. Tell me about the bump, the exit of this bridge, because everybody talks about how tough that is.
Well, it's so much fun coming off of turn 7 there, because you've got to be on the gas. And there goes Adrian flying by everybody to get back into his starting position. I bet, maybe he had his steering wheel on incorrectly, because a lot of times you'll pull out of the pits and maybe the steering wheel isn't just exactly where you want it. It's not true. And so you can pull over, literally pull your steering wheel off because there's a clip, and then straighten it out, put it back on. So that might be something that he done, or he lost power. It's very easy to take off out of pit lane and not have your fuel turned on. Or as you're checking all your systems, it's very easy to maybe hit the fuel cell or the fuel pump button off. So many things going through your head. But now as we tighten up the pack, this is it. It's time to get it on. The Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA Championship. Here we go.
Oh, can't wait. They, as you can see, are line astern and getting ready. We start over the bridge to keep things safe, but we are green and going here in Nashville, and away they go down towards turn 9 for the first time. A little bit of locking there by Brent Cruz, and it's Nathan Hearn trying to make a move already, and we're on board with Jay Buford, and he is already over the Brazilian and all over Rafa Matos as we go down towards turn 10 for the first time. A frenetic and exciting start. Brent Cruz getting completely sideways. There's Buford right in the middle of it all. He's got 2 three-dimensional cars side by side with him. McAvern behind him, then Justin Marks, of course, the NASCAR team owner for Trackhouse. We're on board now with Austin Green, the young 22-year-old. Finally, his father, former NASCAR champion, here this weekend because he's not working in NASCAR in the safety department. So his proud father out there in the grandstands or on the pit wall. And Austin is due a win. He's had some great results, but boy, would it be great if he could do it here in Nashville for his father. But a good clean start, Scott. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. We've got out, we've got everybody over the bridge for the first time.
Yeah, and you come flying over the bridge this first time, and every car to a car is going to bottom out. You just heard when Nathan's car hit the crosswalk there, it bottomed out. So everybody bottoms out there. Then this little tricky bit here is, there's only room for one car going through here. So you've got to be spot on. You want to get on the gas here, but also you got to get really tidy and hit this brake zone. This is arguably the most important corner to come off and get on the gas, because you have a huge opportunity for passing going into turn 9. So you want to get off that turn 7, turn 8 area as good as possible.
Yeah, and it looks as though Thomas Merrill is thinking just that. Here he comes side by side with Hearn. He's got ahead of him. And the HP Tuners, Mike Cope racing car of Thomas Merrill. But here comes Hearn back at him. Great stuff, mate. Oh, the Aussies will love that. It's 6 in the morning in Australia. They're having their bacon buddies, and Hearn is doing the business for them.
Put a little Vegemite on that.
Yeah. But Hearn, this is an important race for him. You've been wheel to wheel with him. You've seen his progress. He's a hugely aggressive and exciting racer to watch, but they're almost trying to dial it out of him. They saw he had some work with Rob Wilson, the big famous driver coach, and it seems to have helped him. He kind of ascertained that it's just too rough on the machinery. He just needs to help the car a little bit more, get him where he wants to go. Don't muscle it so much more. Let's take a look again at that. And Scott, I'll let you lead us through this corner.
Wow, we didn't see that
No, we missed
going
that.
in. So fortunately, the good thing about a lot of these high-speed turns here at Nashville,
Whoa! That's Barry Bowes turning round and backwards. That's a scary point.
we
to
must
be
have got out of
blind.
it. We didn't go,
Got out of it,
so
yeah.
that's good.
So Hearn manages to hold on to second place. Brent Cruz building on that lead now as they turn into turn 9. But that was Barry Bowes that got turned around. And Barry Bowes, as you could see, still going in the ASIO data on board. So luckily for Barry, a big heartbeat moment, I'm sure. Never like to be backwards on a racetrack when you can't even see them coming out.
No, it's the worst feeling in the world to be stopped on the track. And probably, I'm going to guess that he's messing with his brake bias, because that tells me he probably had too much rear brake dialed in to lose it where he lost it. Because going up that hill to turn 9, you've got to really you can use the hill to your advantage in your braking. But you have to have your braking even, and you've got to have your wheels straight.
Look at this. Thomas
There we go.
Merrill.
There's
Anything
our
you can do,
champion.
I can do better. And you know what? This is playing into Brent Cruz. Look how far up the road in just this last lap he's got. Because as these two fight, they're going to slow each other up, because they're taking lines that they wouldn't normally take. They're not, they're not in their rhythm. They're fighting with each other, and this is just helping Brent get ahead.
Yeah, big time. So we'll see how much Thomas has early on in the race. Thomas is a hard knuckle racer. I love racing against Thomas Merrill. He doesn't waste any time.
No.
So if he's got anything for Brent, he's not going to take his time to get up to him. He's going to get up and start worrying him as fast as he can, because nobody knows what the cautions will be.
Yeah,
This race could go. We just saw 2 things that could have caused a caution, and they got it cleaned up. So Thomas does not want to let Brent get too far away.
It's interesting what you said about Thomas Merrill, because every youngster has said that the help they get, who's the guy that helps you most? Thomas Merrill. And yet you say he's a monster when he's,
Oh, he's the first guy to help you. And a great racer, too. Absolutely.
Well, we've had plenty of excitement already, and no question about it. It's Lostowski trying to make up ground as quickly as he can. He had a little bit of a situation where it looked like he either missed a gear or whatever. Ooh, that was a big moment to the 34. Luckily, didn't take anybody with him.
Yeah, that could have been a mess.
That could have been a big mess. But luckily, we got turned around and we're still green. So we're still continuing. Brent Cruz is just on the fastest lap, a 32.2, which is pretty impressive around this Nashville circuit. Everybody's saying that after the first practice, they felt that the racetrack was actually faster than before.
Yeah, you never know what the effects of rain are going to do. It's the same tire, but also, too, we've had a couple years to think about this track, to understand what springs, what shock package we want to use, what aero we want to use, and you always want to go faster the next year. So I think we're starting to get a comfort with this track just in time to change it for next year.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the big news. 2 big news stories, obviously. The Titan Stadium is moving. They're going to rebuild it, and that means, therefore, we can't do the train track method. But we're not going far off. And 2 big pieces of news, and Scott, you're right in the middle of it. We're going to go down Broadway with the Indy cars next year, and it's going to be the finale of the season.
Yeah, all roads lead to Nashville, and this, what we're looking at right now, instead of turning left here as we get to the bottom of the hill, we're going to turn right next year and go up First Avenue, race through Broadway, and there's Jade, getting a little bump from Rafa there. So we're already trading a little rubber.
We're on board with Austin Green, but the other story to mention is that Rafa Matos is right where he needs to be. Rafa is always good around street courses. He's in 4th place behind Nathan Hearn, and they continue their battle. Here's Buford again. Oh, look at that. Like you say, there's a little replay of that little nudge there, but that's all fair in love and war, right?
Yeah, and honestly, if you're Jade at that point, you got to let him go. He's got position on you, and you let that go.
Well, we welcome our mad viewers back to Nashville, where it's fast and furious here in the Music City. A great start by Brent Cruz to this race. He locked up a little bit going into 9 on that green flag start, but from there on in, he's looked very confident. Merrill's got through to 2nd place. Nathan Hearn is now 3rd. Rafa Matos, Jay Buford doing a great job in the mans. Next to me, Scott Borchetta. The pair of them, I may add, last year. So there's a good track record there. They know what they're doing around this circuit. It doesn't matter that you may have your name on the car. You've also got to pull out and do the business in the car. Austin Green also doing a good job in 5th position. Dylan McAvern 7th. Adam Andretti, our first mention of him, he's in 8th position. And remember, just coming in for Evan Slater this weekend. But Adam's one of those guys that you could throw him in anything, and he's going to perform.
100%. Well, that's what a real race car driver does. You race whatever you can race. And also want to point out that Thomas Merrill just did the fastest lap yet.
Yeah.
So I think he's catching Brent, as I talked about. If Thomas can do it, he's not going to let Brent get away. He's going to get in his rearview mirror and start haunting him. So look at that. You can see just in this distance right here, Thomas Merrill is catching up to Brent.
Coming quick, yeah. You know, and you're absolutely right. As we look back now at Andretti, there he is. He's got McAvern in front of him, so he's going to make it. Whoa, somebody else is going around there. That was one of the Showtime cars.
Yeah, and that's in the off area.
Is that Andretti?
That's Andretti.
Oh, Adam. Oh, what a shame. So excited for this, and he's going to drop down a lot now. He's going to be praying for a safety car, but you never say never in a street car race. You just mentioned the possibility of safety. Merrill can't count on that, and if I look back over the history, although it's short, just 2 years, the first race we all said, oh, there's going to be safety car, safety car.
And you know what, Jonathan? That may have been Ryan Finney in the 4
Okay.
car. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you, because they are very similar looking.
Yep.
So it's Ryan Finney, the former IndyCar driver, that's gone off. So I'm glad to say our regular, if you will, Adam Andretti in the Trans Am Series is still hounding down that man McAvern, who's got a fairly good history himself, Dylan McAvern. He's a handy driver in 7th place. This is the battle you're looking at now.
You know, and when you watch this, for all of our viewers, the box on the left there, that's showing your throttle and braking. And so you can see how quickly we're full throttle, and then also just how hard the brake pressure is. Our foot brake pressure in these cars is 800 plus pounds. So you are standing on the brake, you know, at every road race. But I love when they go to that graphic. We'll talk more about it when they go back to the in-car, because it's super important to watch. And you can really tell what's going on. It looks like we have somebody stopped on track.
Somebody's parked up. Yeah, it's an interesting point you mentioned. I had not ever given real thought to that until I spoke to Ben Mayer at the beginning of the season. I said, you know, you're just starting out in your career. What's the hardest thing about racing a Trans Am car? He said, braking.
Yeah.
He said, I'm tiny. He said, I'm literally stomping on the brakes. Yep, looks as though we're possibly, with that car stuck, going to get a safety, and sure enough we are. Full course safety, and therefore they're going to push that back. And now Merrill is in absolutely prime position.
Right where he wants to be. So he got clear of the traffic. He's going to pull right up behind Brent, and he's going to worry him. I guarantee you. There's a few of those guys, when you see them in your mirror, you know that they're coming for you.
Scott, what do you do in this situation? So let's say Jade was your crew chief now. You're under safety. You're kind of taking a breath. You're not loosening the belts, but you've got a time to kind of rethink. We're into the race now. You've got to feel for whether the car feels good or bad. But what do you do in terms of working with your engineer for that restart?
Well, right here, you want to take a breath. You want to get a drink of water. You want to check all of your gauges, see, you know, what's the water pressure, what's the oil pressure, are there any issues? You know, is there anything you can report back to the pits? But there's no pit stops here. You pit right now, and you're just going to lose track position. So hopefully, you know, I'm wondering, when Jade and Rafa got together, did that mess up anything on the, you know, on our left front of the 48 car? Because he's fallen back a little bit. Austin Green has gotten around him. So there's not really anything you can do at this point except play with your brake bias and watch your temperatures and just try to stay calm, cool, and collected, because, you know, it's hot out there and you got to get it right and get ready for this restart.
We're on board with Barry Bowes, who had a very scary moment where he got turned around, and as you can see, this is going to play to his advantage, because as you can see, he was out there on his own, so now he'll be able to catch up with the field. It's our first look at Justin Marks. How pleased are you to see Justin Marks? He's a bit like yourself. He's got plenty else going on in his world, but he still loves racing, and, you know, I think he's pretty brave getting out there when he's got his own NASCAR team, who I'm sure are tuning in.
Absolutely. You know, Justin, he's won a couple of Trans Am races, and just a great guy, and he's done so well with Trackhouse. And it's great to see that bright purple Tootsie's livery on there, because, you know, Jonathan, from where we sit, we're a half mile from the world-famous Tootsie's.
Yeah.
So, you know, they are great supporters of racing. You know, there are a lot appearing on Daniel Suarez's car in the Cup Series, and one of Justin's, you know, best sponsors. But Justin's a real racer. You know, he's been racing for a long time, and for him to have the opportunity to do this, you know, he just loves to race like me. We would race anything that we had time to race.
Sure. So we're going over the famous Korean War
Korean
vets bridge. I'll get it right in a minute. Over the Columbus River, 533 yards. I know that much, but it's the only professional race that actually goes over
proper body of water. Now that Chicago races downtown, they're going over that little water expanse, but a proper river, this is it.
Yeah. Well, we're under caution, and hopefully we'll get down to the pits and find out what happened to Caleb Bacon. But I just want to ask you, while we're under caution, we saw the fans there. It's really interesting, for me anyway. I went out in the first practice 2 years ago, sat out in the grandstands, and was just amazed at the faces of people hearing these muscle cars. What's been the reaction downtown in, here?
Oh, people love it because it's so powerful, and it's muscle cars at its best.
We're under caution here. Thanks, Scott Borchetta, alongside me, Jonathan Green, as we welcome our viewers on MAV TV. It's been really exciting to have a home in the home of motorsports, MAV TV, and we're under caution here. And what's happened so far is Brent Cruz is leading the way, but Thomas Merrill is chasing him down. But we've got news. Ben Sissel, what's the latest?
Yeah, thank you. I'm here with Rick Reynolds. Caleb Bacon's car is stuck just on the edge of the Cumberland River. But Rick, what's your driver saying on the radio? Have you heard anything? What happened there?
Yeah, he's real frustrated. We had a good car today. I just got off the radio with him saying we feel like we're running top 5 pace, maybe 6, something like that. And I literally just said to him, let the car come to you. And we think we had something to let go in the rear, but we really don't know yet.
All right. They think they have something to let go in the rear. That really stinks. One of the prettiest cars in the field. Jonathan and Scott, back up to you.
Great stuff, Ben, as always. Yeah, so that's the reason for the caution. You can see the car's still there. They haven't got it out of the way yet. But let's go back to what how you can use a caution to your advantage.
Well, right here, you want to make sure that you're keeping temperature in your tires because you've got them up to race temp. And, as the temperature changes on the tire, the size of the tire changes.
Right.
So you want to make sure here that you're using all 4 tires. You don't want to overdo your steering to the point where you're taking the temps out of a consistency for all 4 tires. And then again you're really sussing up your competition. Where are you? Who's in front of you? Who's behind you? Connor Zilich is already up to 16th place.
And I would have thought it's also a chance for your crew chief or engineer to tell you, hey, Merrill's on this kind of pace, he's flying, the other guy's not, or whatever it might be.
Well, Jonathan, it's a great point because your spotters up there, they'll be able to tell. It's like, hey, you know what, you're giving up too much coming into turn 9, or you're charging the corner too hard.
Okay.
So especially the guys who've got some elevation and can look down, where are they beating me?
Yeah.
Because they go, hey, you know what, Brent is taking a little bit different.
So it's actually a good assessment time. You almost kind of quite like it sometimes.
Yeah, especially, unless you're leading.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got another news story for you. I said I would keep an eye on Connor Zilich for the simple reason that he surprised us all at Detroit. He got pole position, they moved him to the back for an infringement, and he won the darn race. Well, he's 16th at the moment behind Boris Said Jr. in his first street race. Let's head down, though, once again to Ben.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm here with Joe Claridge, Brent Cruz's crew chief down here. And as you remember, Brent Cruz won last year, but actually tapped Thomas Merrill into the wall. And now Thomas Merrill right behind him. Are we expecting any shenanigans here, Joe Claridge?
Well, you know the deal. You always know at some point there's going to be payback. But like I told Tom last year, he did train Brent when we started this program. So who knows?
Now, what's your driver saying on the radio? Is he calm, cool, and collected like normal?
He don't say much ever on the radio. You don't get excited. He's always calm. It's usually me who's wound up trying to get him to come in, and get to the car. And our crew chief's actually Nick Tucker. I'm just the guy that see the pretty face on TV. And then I'm the one that's more wound up on the team than everybody else.
I love it. Now, just so you know, about 2 hours before the race, I was with Thomas and Brent. They're great friends. Thomas is still mentoring Brent, which is funny because Brent's ahead of him in the points, but a great relationship there, so we don't expect any shenanigans. But it is the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and anything can happen. So, gentlemen, back up to you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is one of the nicest gentlemen in the series, Thomas Merrill. But as we heard from Scott Borchetta, he's a beast. When he's behind the wheel, he doesn't give an inch. But he is a nice guy, and I don't think he's certainly thinking on his mind that he wants to take any revenge on Brent Cruz. Like I said, Brent uses him as a mentor, as does Connor Zilic, I may add. So it's interesting stuff that Merrill is both the nice guy and shares his wisdom, as it were, and he is our current champion. But I've got a feeling that he's got the bit between his teeth, because last year's championship win was on a countback, and it was a surprise for Thomas Merrill. It was a great championship, but everybody would say that on the measure of things, Rafa Matos had a better season. So Merrill kind of want to change that tune this year, and I think just beating Brent Cruz before he becomes a world champion somewhere will be a real accolade for Thomas Merrill, and he'll say, I had a hand in that guy's, why he's such a success. So I've got a feeling that Merrill wants this.
Absolutely, and I got to say too, when I first came into TA2, Thomas was extremely helpful, and he's just that guy off the track. When he's on the track, once that helmet's gone, he doesn't care. He's going to win. He's a hard-nosed racer. He'll move you. And so there are two different Thomas Merrills. There's the race car driver, and then there is the mentor.
So Barry Bowes, unfortunately, in the pits.
Sounds like they're changing a tire.
Yeah. Well,
but they don't look like they're in a hurry, do they?
No, not really. And obviously he's at the back, so he's obviously out of caution. Maybe even had a slow puncture, maybe, who knows. But he'll get back out there without losing a lap, by my guess, because obviously we're still under caution. Another question for you. Are you surprised, or are you, I'm sure, pleasantly surprised, that we've had so many youngsters who have looked at NASCAR doing more road races and said, you know what, I got to learn how to do this. I need to be another Kyle Larson, another Chase Elliott,
I think that what TA2 is bringing to the world of motorsports is because they're adding more tracks, that street tracks, road tracks, etc., non-ovals into NASCAR, that a lot of these young drivers are looking at TA2 as a real opportunity to go and learn how to road race. You're racing with some of the best road racers in America when you're racing TA2. Rafa Matos was an Indy Lights champion and ran the Indy 500 2 times. Thomas Merrill has won. He was a winner at the Daytona 24 this year. Skiing, and so it's very aspirational to come in and drive these cars, learn how to do it, and it gives you just all that experience, because as drivers we can never get enough laps, whether you're on the simulator, hopefully, because the NASCAR teams really don't get to test anymore. So whether you're doing on a simulator or you pick another series like this, as drivers we would all rather be in a race car. So if there's off weekends to go and jump in a TA2 car for these people who are on the way up, but then even Daniel Suarez jumped in at Detroit just to learn the track.
Yes.
So it's a great series, and obviously you wouldn't have these kind of people participating and jumping in if there wasn't a high value and great racing to everything that we're doing in TA2.
Now listen, we're about to go green. I'm going to put you in Jade's car.
Tell
me what you tell him. You know that we're going to go over the bridge and we're going to go straight into 9. What are you going to tell Jade?
So you want to get right up on the bumper, and you want to anticipate the start. You don't want to get into the guy in front of you, but you want to be on that bumper and just be on the gas a little bit ahead, and make sure you don't spin the tires here, because while you have an opportunity to, this is a really tricky corner. You can make up 1 or 2 spots here, but you get out of shape up at the top of the hill, the runoff area, you could end up at the back of the pack. So it's a fun restart, but this is a critical restart, and we are green.
We are green again. Brent Cruz puts that accelerator to the floor. Merrill's right there with him. They're pulling away from Hearn in third. And a bit of a lock-up from Merrill. He didn't want to do that. That's not going to help his tyres. And Jade gets thrown out on the outside, but holds the line. It looks as though Austin Green has got past Rafa Matos at that restart. So no love lost then between the two teammates, and right in the middle of it. Oh, there's an incident.
Adam.
And also another incident there with the 90. So all sorts of drama right at the restart of this. And was that Andretti that we thought?
Yeah, I believe he hit Nakaburn.
So, well, we wait to see whether there's a possibility of a caution, but it's still Brent Cruz, the winner of this race last year. Thomas Merrill chasing him down hard. Hearn in third place. Austin Green now in fourth. Rafa Matos down to fifth. Jake Buford went wide at 9, but still holding on at the moment to 6th place. There he is. And it was Dean Thompson, the guy who's just coming in the number 90. Remember, that's the seat, if you will, of Thomas Annunziata, who's not racing this weekend. So Dean Thompson coming in. He's got plenty of experience in truck racing in ARCA, but first time in Trans Am, and certainly the first time around Nashville. That's not the way he wanted to end his day. Thomas Merrill, 1:31.4, still the fastest lap on track for the Bennett HB Tuners Cope Cars car. Ford Mustang, Ford leading the championship in the manufacturers. And obviously Camaro chasing them down as best they can as we go on board once again with Austin Green. And it's a great onboard. I love our onboards. Really get a chance. It's Merrill, and again, Cruz, he's going for the lead.
Great position.
Merrill's got the line, and Cruz can not really do much about it. Away goes Thomas Merrill, and there's the man we were talking about. And there's the evil eye of the man who is determined to beat this youngster. This 15-year-old kind of an upstart, because he has just blown away Trans Am in the last year or so, and he has a street race pedigree like no other. He won this race, did Brent Cruz, last year. He's already won in Detroit, and now Thomas Merrill is back for vengeance. Hearn saw all of that taking place, and Nathan Hearn also with a job to do this weekend. He's had an up and down season. He's been mega fast, no question about that. No one doubts his speed. He's just not had the results. And Cube 3 are trying to sort of, the best way they can, use that sponsorship money to mold this young driver, just 22 years of age, into a really good Trans Am driver. And I think he's got all the makings.
He's got a lot of raw talent. You know, I believe his first race was at COTA last year, and he had a really good showing.
Yeah, he did.
And I think that might have given him a little too much confidence, because I got to tell you, racing against him, he's made some silly mistakes. He needs to settle down in the race car. And
here's the overtake again.
This is great. See, I was telling you about how important it is to get off turn 7. Merrill had a brilliant takeoff out of turn 7, didn't spin the tires, great acceleration, and there he is in the lead.
And got it done before turning in, more critically, because he didn't want to be side by side with Brent going in there. Brent wouldn't give an inch. We've seen that with Zilic in Detroit.
Well, let me tell you something about that 26 car. It's the widest car on the track now. It will be the hardest one to pass, unless Thomas makes a mistake.
Yeah, well, once that would be my fear. Once Merrill gets a sniff of the lead, he doesn't tend to look back. He won't be thinking about cautions. He'll be thinking about how far he can go away.
And look at Zilic.
Oh, we said it together.
Wow.
He is absolutely flying. He's just got past McAvern, and you're looking at another superstar. Brent Cruz and Connor Zilic grew up together, karting against each other. They're 2 years different. They've both been world kart champions. I was at the autograph session this morning, and I kind of whispered in a guy's ear. I said, you know what? Got some pretty handy guys here. He said, oh, I know all about them. And so the fans are wise to it. They know that these guys, this championship is full of the real future of motorsport in America.
Really, Connor Zilic, I'm a big fan of Connor. I've raced against him a bunch, and he's a great young man outside of the car, does the right things, and obviously he knows what to do inside the car. He's going to get Justin right here.
Yep, he is. Justin Marks.
Let's see if he goes in and goes for the deep braking. Not this one. But you see Justin sees him locked up a little bit there.
Yep.
And again, this part is so tricky. You've got to be so spot on. You got to carry great speed here, but you got to be careful because the car pushes. Very easy to get in that outside wall. Then here, you're really on the gas hard. You want to tuck in over to the left. And again, there it is.
Wow.
There's Zilic.
Yep. And that is not a normal overtaking
No, it's
position.
not. So again, we'll see, because he didn't get off 7 as well as he could because it was sliding. So we'll see how much Justin, because Justin got a better launch. He may have something for him going into turn 9.
Good point. Here we go.
But
Over
Zilic has been on fire so fast.
Yeah, that is amazing. And he is scything. He's doing what he did at Detroit. He's scything his way through the field. He got done for a restrictor infringement, a modification to the restrictor, and that put him from pole all the way to the back. He had he didn't have a similar infringement, but he had an infringement that put him to the back at Detroit, and he scythed his way through that no one thought he could do, and he's doing it again here, and he's getting past some handy drivers. Justin Marks, he may own an NASCAR team, but he's got a huge record behind him as well as a sports car driver, so he knows what he's doing behind the wheel. So Zilic doing a brilliant job right now, and now he's got Adam Andretti. Good luck, Connor.
Yeah, you know what, Connor, he's fearless. And you could tell by just the way he's able to throw the car around, very confident in his abilities, and he's going to be a threat. He is already up to 8th place after starting 34th. This is incredible. Lap 14, don't count him out.
I know. absolutely. And that's just what amazed me at Detroit, because, you know, it's one thing to get into the top 10, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Once you get there, it suddenly goes from half a second, where in terms of pace, to a tenth, 2 tenths. So how do you make that time?
Well, the higher you go up, the more difficult the passes are going to be. But, you know, there's a good chance, it's only lap 14, there's a good chance we'll have another caution. So if he's able to knock off a couple more positions and then get a little bit closer, that's only going to help his cause.
Merrill increasing that lead. It was just under half a second. It's just over now, 0.693 to be exact. And so Merrill going about his business. He's already set the fastest lap as we go back on board with Austin Green, who's had a bright start to this race. He's all over the back of Nathan Hearn from 4th place. We can see it ourselves from the onboard as they go past the Nissan Stadium and down the front straight here again into turn 1, 2, and 3. Very tight through here.
Yeah, he's made some critical passes already, too. You know, getting by Jade, getting by Rafa. Rafa is never an easy pass.
No.
So I'm a big fan of Austin. Again, a great guy inside and outside the car. And, you know, you would think coming from the Green family, he's had tons of racing experience. No. He hasn't. So he's obviously been around it his whole life. But every time this guy gets in the car, he's impressive.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, the likes of Brent Cruz, you know, you forget, you might say they're 15, but they've been racing 10 years. So, but Austin Green, as you say, has not. He came at it this late, but there's no question that the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree because he has got that DNA, if you will. And we're seeing it playing out here around the streets of Nashville. How much is this a thrill for you? I know you want to be in the car.
I would rather be out there.
I know, but hey, to have the city that you basically grown up in and have made your name in and see your other love, and I know you love your music, but you love your racing more. Come on, this has got to be a special day.
In reality, it's decades in the making because I've been working with, you know, fusing records, music, and racing together literally since the 90s. So to see this dream come true of Indy cars and Trans Am cars racing on the streets of Nashville, it is a dream come true.
Well, we're in the Music City, and it's alive, I can assure you. They didn't stop going until about 3:30 last night, so if I'm a bit jaded, forgive me. I wasn't out there. I could just hear the drums. But it's a great city, a bopping city. If you've not been, honky tonks is what it's all about, and I think this is a perfect match. And I may add, there is music going on throughout this weekend festival of racing, so always a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have a ton of artists out here this week. Chris Jansen and Brian Kelly of Florida Georgia Line, etc. So we got it covered.
Yeah, I looked at the lineup. Wow, and they all Big Machine artists.
Not all of them.
Oh, no. Okay, cool.
No, because we want this to be inclusive.
Yeah.
So we have artists from every label out there, and a lot of different things happening musically, not just country.
And I bet it's a chance also for maybe an unknown to step up and get a chance to play on a stage one Friday morning or, you know, at some point in the weekend that nobody heard of.
Well, and it's so great because the artists are so grateful to be out and be part of this as the tires are screaming. I love that. Hard brake, hard turns.
Well, Thomas Merrill is making most of it. He's just on another fastest lap, just by a tenth, 131.468.
Hey, a tenth is a bunch. Yeah. You know, 15 laps in, that's a big deal.
And you can see the gap visually for yourself. Hearn's got his own battle now as we go back on board with Nathan Hearn. I love watching him wheel his car around. He's great to watch. You can almost feel how hard he's working. Over 112 miles an hour down that front straight, then dipping it in, down through the gearbox, drifting it through. Nicely done. Now coming up to the last corner, turn 11, and then just hitting that apex nicely, accelerating hard, past the Nissan Stadium, and then into turn 1. I worried when they first designed this that, for Indy anyway, that's the pit exit there, and it could be the pit exit obviously for Trans Am, although we don't have pit stops, that there might be a problem with that, but it hasn't seemed to be over the years, and it just seems that the flow of the traffic works, that you can actually get back in line.
Yeah, that chicane works, and I think it's a lot of times we look at a racetrack and as drivers, sometimes the things that we think are going to be the biggest problems aren't. It's like, well, we'll never get 2 cars through there. Well, it turns out that that's not Calamity Corner.
Yeah.
You know, it's other areas. So, you know, until you get out and race the track, you really don't know.
You're watching Music City roar to the sound of muscle cars. Jonathan Green and Scott Borchetta bringing you the action from Trans Am and the Big Machine Spike Vodka spiked coolers. I'll get it right.
Big Machine
Big
Vodka
Machine
spiked
Vodka
coolers. There we
spiked
go.
coolers. Race is in hand, and we
It's a
are looking
good-looking
at
car,
the
if I do
48
say
car.
so
You like the look of that?
Yes.
It took third place here last year, but now in the hands of J.H. Buford is trying to make his way, and he's wheeling well. He's 6th at the moment, and really, that is a good position to be in. 17, long way to go in this yet.
Yeah, it's not as good as 5th, a little bit better than 7th. So
Yeah.
gotta get after
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, what I'm getting at is that, you know, and I've talked to a few drivers about this, it's 100 miles, and talk to this a little bit. You know, you've got to be measured
Yes.
with your aggression with the tyres. Everybody's got the same, and they'll last, but they're more optimal, if you could say.
They are. You know, you obviously you don't want to be locking your brakes up. You don't want. Oh, Connor Zilic, by the way, just did fast lap.
Oh,
he is
no.
on a tear.
He's coming. He
up
is.
to 7th, and he's coming after Jade next. But you know, it's very important for tire management. But not. You don't want to give up your race.
Oh!
Because let's see if we
That's
can
Gallagher.
get out of there.
It's one of the Coke
Can
cars.
he get out of there?
Jim Gallagher.
Oh boy. Do something quick.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on. That's
Somebody's
not
going to
good.
hit him, and they have.
And
Well, there's your next safety
oh,
car.
no.
Big jam.
There's,
Big jam.
Oh, there's your leader.
Oh, no, that's the leader breakthrough.
There's your leader.
Hearn's got through.
Nathan
So has
Hurd.
Austin Green. Hearn takes the lead. The Australian leads here in Nashville in the most dramatic fashion ever.
Full
we had a
course yellow,
turnaround.
full
Jim
course yellow.
Gallagher, the Mike Cope car, got turned around and obviously was in a blind position for the others. And sadness for the Franklin Road has come to the end of the road. He may get it back, but that
No,
car
he's
is going to
done.
be damaged.
He's done. He won't be able to challenge for the lead.
What
So
a
what does
shame.
this
Ty
do?
Young is involved in that incident as well.
Merrill.
And that's Merrill.
Dead stick.
Here we go again. Scott, I'm going to let you see what you see here.
So he overbraked. You saw all the weight go there on the front, so he lost the rear, trying to be too aggressive through this turn, which is not necessary. And now all of a sudden he has. You hate when a back marker takes out the leader, and that's exactly what's happened here.
Well, Ty Young, who is at one of the. Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Those are hard hits, by
Those
the way.
are,
They may look slow, but those are hard hits.
Hearn did a very good job of
Well,
avoiding the incident.
You got to remember, too, your spotter's on here.
Yes.
So hopefully, you know, obviously it was too late for Merrill, but for the rest of the field, they missed it because obviously they're calling it and said, hey, we've got trouble. But that never should
Ty
happen.
Young had nowhere to go. Yeah. Well, I did Macau for so many years, a street race, of course.
Oh, look at that. Yeah,
How the
he's
heck
done.
can he see?
You
Well,
can't-
Brent
he's
Cruz has
looking
got
out
eyes
his
in the back
side.
of his head, but he's going to have to use them now.
Yeah, he's looking out the side window. He can't see anything in front of him.
Well,
That's
he's going to
a
have to
shame.
pit now. Boy, does this change his thing. And hey, guys, 131.3,
Championship.
Connor Zilic in
Yeah.
5th place.
And what does this do to the championship? For
Oh,
Merrill, he was
turns
right
on
there.
ahead.
But there's both of them. Both
Yeah.
your championship contenders are, you know, out of it for today.
Looking nice for this guy, though.
It is.
She'll be right. Nathan Hearn in the
Oh, he
Q3
must be
car.
He must be ecstatic and nervous as can be right
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
all together.
There's a long way to go in this race, and he's got to hold it all together because he's had an up and down season. He's had some
Yeah.
coaching between races, and you know, it's not been plain sailing by any means. I think you're absolutely right what you said about Cota. He came into Cota and thought, I got this.
Yeah.
And the reason I talked to him about it, and he said, you know what, our cars are older in Australia. The tyres are not as good as the Pirellis, so I felt like I had more confidence when I came to Cota, and because the cars are better, and so I was able to race better. But like you say, he got into the championship, was fast right out the bat at Sebring and Nola, but then it just started to go backwards for him from Road Atlanta onwards. He just didn't click as much. Got decent results. Merrill's trying to get going.
Oh, no, he backed into the safety vehicle.
Yeah, well, that's not going to be recommended.
No, and you know, it's so hard to be patient in that moment because you're so upset.
Let's head
Something
down
that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Let's head down to Ben Sissel. He's got the latest from pit lane.
Well, thank you guys. I'm here with a very upset Nitro team. As we've talked about, and Scott, you can allude to this, a lot of just blind, really sharp corners they couldn't see coming around. So Nick Tucker, very disappointed. What happened out there in your mind?
Poor officiating. We got to call yellows when they're stuck like that. We're street court racing. Man, it's a shame.
So you mean from the corner workers, there weren't yellows out quick enough?
Yeah, just poor. Did give us warning. They should have called a yellow. There was cars stacked up. The track was blocked. Wrecked the 2 leaders.
Yeah, he said he wrecked the 2 leaders. Now, I didn't get to see too much of it. Scott, I would love your opinion on that with the car that spun. Did we get the yellow flags out quick enough? Back to you, gentlemen.
Well, every race driver's got an opinion. Let's hear yours.
Yeah, Ben, and in my opinion, your spotter has to be on that period.
Okay.
The end. You don't get to call out an official for that. That's why we have spotters.
Okay.
And you saw the rest of the field missed them, and that's because their spotters are saying, we've got trouble in turn 9, get on the binders, inside, understand where we can go, and don't hit them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, because I looked at that incident the same way you did, and I saw that he was under power to get out the way. Had he managed to get into gear, he might have just squeezed out the way, because that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
The corner was blind, and there wasn't time for the officials to make a call in that time.
Well, and also, too, you don't know yet if you're calling a full course because there's a local yellow there immediately. But again, you don't get to call out the official in that moment.
Okay.
It was an unfortunate situation, but also, too, you have to have a great sense of what is going on around you. We call it situational awareness.
Yep.
And in that moment, I'm going to blame the spotter. Nick doesn't get to call out the official on that. I'll arm wrestle and argue that one all day. You've got to have your guys. That's part of what the team does, is take care of the driver. The team's there for one reason, take care of your driver. They didn't take care of him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nathan Hearn, though, let's just catch you up. Catch your breath, folks. Well, I love street races because this is what can happen, and this is what we, this is what you live for, isn't the race as exciting as this?
That is heartbreaking.
It is. And it reminds me, he's had some bad luck here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merrill creeping his way in the HB Tuners Mike Cope race car, and
done
just
deal.
A real shame.
That's a heartbreak. I hate it for Thomas and for Mike Cope. Mike Cope is such a key figure in Trans Am 2 racing, and brings several cars to each race.
Yeah.
And you work so hard to get a car working that good, and to get it taken away, in a situation like this where you get caught up with back markers is really heartbreaking.
Yeah, and there's 2 of those Cope cars there too. Yeah, it's a shame. So they're going to work feverishly on the 26th.
They
our
can
champion.
work all they want.
Yeah, we've seen this happen before, and there was just 6 seconds between that spin and that contact.
That's a ton of time, though.
Well, you join us back here in Nashville, where they are trying to get the car of Thomas Merrill fixed, but it's looking very unlikely. Let's head down to Ben Sissel.
Well, Jonathan, it's Scott. I just saw a Cope crew member take this bat and hit it as hard as he could. The whole crowd over there erupted. They're trying everything they can. I can see Travis. I can see Bowser. They're doing everything they can to put Verabond on here. And if you remember last year, they released a car that they probably shouldn't have released. And in my opinion, I don't think they should have released that one either. Scott, I'm going to have to come back to you. What's your opinion on that?
You know what? The Trans Am techs are great, and so if they see something that they think is race worthy, they're going to let it go. But we have pieces falling off the car and flying off the car. That car needs to be black flagged. Everything's dragging on the front end. There's nothing left. You pull this car in, because here's what can happen. We have the timed race. There's only so many laps, and now you don't want to get to a situation where Thomas is extending the caution flag, because that's just not fair to the other competitors. So they need to pull this car in. It's game over, and now we have debris on the racetrack. Yeah. We can't waste laps. We're here to race. We're not here to run around behind the caution.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Behind the safety car.
You can see that piece of Merrill's car there.
And so they're going to have to
if
go
somebody
get
goes
that.
over that accidentally,
yeah, it looks like it might be a rubber boot, but still, you got to get it out of there.
Yeah. Well, as we stand, Hearn leads. Green is second, and that's a great story too. Matos is third. Wiley Matos still there. Buford, now I think back to Detroit. Exactly what he did there.
Yeah.
Jade was on the podium there. Zilic is the man we're obviously watching. He set the fastest lap. He's come from right at the back of the field. The pole man
Made up 29 positions.
Oh.
Incredible.
And don't count out the likes of Andretti, who will be sensing an opportunity here. Andretti, if Zilic is out to prove himself, but already has, Andretti is desperate to make sure he can get on the podium and literally go from race to race as a race driver. Yeah, and I'm amazed that they haven't already black flagged him and that they let him out. I'm with Ben on this.
Well, he should be off the track, so I guess we'll see that here in a second. But, you bring up Adam. And in our inaugural race in 2021, Adam had the race won.
Yeah.
And the motor blew.
Yes,
so
I remember.
Believe me, Adam believes that Nashville owes him one.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's a better restarter or more aggressive restarter than Adam Andretti. Anytime Adam was in my rear view on a restart, it was like, hold your breath because the bull is coming.
Yeah, no kidding. There is absolutely no kidding. We're on board with Austin Green, who is looking very wily at the moment, but he knows what Nathan Hearn's all about. And Nathan is trying, but although interesting, he's back in, is the 26. Yeah, no surprise. Well, I'll give them props for the fact that they're trying to keep him going.
Because if Brent is out completely, we're talking about points now. The only reason they're working so hard right now is to get as many points as you can, because there's liable to be more attrition. And again, you're pointing to the official. He's not going to let that car go until he's sure that it's safe to go. We cannot waste time with parts falling off this car under caution. And there's another part, they just kick it to the side. So they're working really hard. We've all been in this situation. It's the most frustrating thing to be sitting there with an injured automobile and not be able to be on the racetrack.
Amazing. Just 18 laps of this classic race already. And who knows what's going to come out of it. Justin Marks is back in the fringe as well. 7th place at the moment. Lostowski up to 8th. Jordan Butt moving through. He's in 9th. He finished in the top 10 last time out. Darren Mock is in the top 10. Roy Fulmer, in his first real run at Trans Am nationally, he's a West Coast man, is in 11th place. Thad Moffitt is 12th. First time out on a street circuit. Told me this morning in the autograph session that he was really enjoying it, but he said it's so exciting because it's just blind corners everywhere, something he's not used to. But boy, they are trying their darndest. And another reason, as you made a good point, is that we changed the point system this year. So, almost if you can make it to the end, you're going to score something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why these guys are working so hard.
There's no way.
And, he's not going to be fast at this point. And so the officials will be watching it to make sure that he's not a moving chicane and in everybody else's way. So he's going to have to be able to achieve 110%.
Get the giant duct tape out. There you go.
Yep.
Just stick it on there, son.
But, that radiator, if he's getting any kind of speed, anything can come up through that radiator. You see the official there pointing to something he doesn't like. They're not going to let that car go until
they're ready.
Until that official says we're good to go.
I'll tell you what, Thomas has got a patience of a saint.
Honestly, Jonathan, in that moment, you don't have any other choice. You just got to sit there and hope they can fix it, and you hope you can get out there and get some more points.
Well, this has turned into a true honky-tonk. We've got muscle car mayhem in Music City, just as we'd hoped for, because it is exciting stuff. And these fans who don't often get to see Trans Am in this light in a street circuit are getting a thrill and a half here in the Motor City. Some of them very new to motor racing in itself. Obviously, there's a lot of NASCAR in these parts, but Trans Am is new effectively to Nashville, as is IndyCar, of course, and it's great.
Look at that crowd.
Yeah,
how about that?
Exactly. And
for a Saturday afternoon, where it rained the first half of today.
Yep.
And all the fans are coming out. There's music playing throughout. We launched our Borchetta Bourbon, our third release, and you attended yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a great visit. We're honoring Mario Andretti this year on our bottle, and I own the 1985 National Champion car, the #1 Beatrice Lola.
Yep.
And so Mario came in for the day, hung out with us all day, went to Big Machine Distillery on 3rd Avenue, celebrated with us, was taking pictures, signing bottles of the new bourbon, and just a joy to be with. But I want to mention something that Mario said to us yesterday, and we're talking about Nathan Hearn.
Yeah.
Mario says, don't forget to have fun, because it's so easy to get so up on the wheel and grip it so hard. You're inviting a mistake, because if you go and look at Mario back in the day, one of my favorite videos, there's a video online of him racing on the dirt, and he's just using the wheel so easy, and it's a symphony behind the wheel. You don't want to be gripping that wheel as hard as you can with both, because that means all your muscles are tensed up, and when you have to move quickly, you're going to overcorrect. So you want to be smooth on that wheel. You say you want to hold a pretty wheel. People don't always know what that means.
Yeah.
A pretty wheel is a soft wheel and a comfortable wheel. It doesn't mean that you don't have a grip there, but you're really feeling what the car is doing. And that way, if something happens, especially a bumpy track like this, and the car gets a little bit out of shape, you're not gripping the wheel so hard where you're actually encouraging a mistake. You want to drive into it. It's like, okay, the bump was right there, and the car wants to do this. So, having fun, being relaxed is what's made, one of the secrets of the greatest of all time, Mario Andretti.
No question. And I've got my own analogy to that on two wheels. I went to Kevin Schwantz's race school. Kevin became a good friend of mine over the years, and of course a world champion in his own right. And so I took his race school on a motorcycle, and I did about 20 laps, and I came in and I said, "How am I doing?" And he said, "Man, relax. He said, "You love your commentary, right?" He said, "Just do what you do in commentary. Have a good time and enjoy it." And as soon as he said that, I did. I just really enjoyed it. I could ride a motorcycle, but I was scared because I go on at speed and I was on a racetrack.
I think we're getting ready to go green.
Here we go then.
Are we?
We're getting ready to go.
All right. What can Nathan do?
I know. What can Zilic do?
How hungry is Austin Green for a win?
Yeah, and how hungry is Adam Andretti? A chance now as the green flag waves here as they come over the bridge and the Columbus River. One more time. Matos is popping out to the inside of Green, looking for a way past the Brazilian, making his move on the inside, but Austin Green is going side by side. They're still at it. This is playing into Hearn's hands as he pulls away. The 88 on the inside has finally got through, and Matos is up to second.
Hey, and Jade got around Zilic.
Yep. So, Zilic actually losing a spot. That's the first he's lost.
Let's see here.
Down
the
to
last
the
thing you
stadium.
want here, Jonathan, as a car owner, is for your two cars to mess up. And
McAvern just messed up.
Yeah, and Matos getting around Austin. Let me tell you something. Austin is so hungry for a win. Matos is always hungry for a win.
Yeah.
But look at Austin. Got a better launch off the corner here. And let's see how he does going up the hill. This is critical. This is a great passing zone.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. What a restart and what a race. It's turned on its head. And if you've just joined us, we've lost our leaders. Merrill out, and so too Brent Cruz. Now, Merrill is trying to get back out
Look
there.
at Andretti.
And Andretti's coming.
Andretti.
We said it. Andretti on his way. He's got Zilic in front of him. He's got business to attend to. He should have won this race, Adam Andretti. And he wants to turn it at least into a podium, and he's got that opportunity. But right in the middle of it, Jade Buford did a brilliant job at Detroit, keeping your nose clean. That's the key to a street race. You've just got to stay out of trouble any which way and lose, but somehow avoiding the walls and being there at the end. That's the key.
You're absolutely right, Jonathan. There's that fine line of staying up on the wheel. Don't let the guys get too far away. But you also want to let the race come to you. And Jade is so good. Here comes Connor Zilic on the inside of Jade. Clean pass. And there goes Lostowski in front of Andretti. So this is a great passing zone going into turn 9.
Great story. Adrian Lostowski came into the championship a few years ago and was in the GT championship, was in SGT and XGT, and then came up to Trans Am, and it's been a great success story. Just a small team, but great backing from Hawk Performance. And Adrian, a real character from New York of this series as we go back on board with Justin Marks.
I love these in-car shots because you hear the tires just screaming. Hear that?
Yeah. Squealing.
Oh, yeah. And Justin also gets it all wrong.
He almost lost it then.
Yeah.
Oh, big moment there for Justin Marks.
All right, Zilic is up to 4th.
Wow.
Does he have the bit in his teeth or what?
Yeah, no kidding. And, somebody made a good point to me earlier in the day, which is, well, you made another point, but two people have said to me, the worst part about Connor Zilic going from pole position to the back is Connor would have no idea, right? I mean, he's not looking into the car. He doesn't know how the car's built and put together.
As drivers, we race the car. We don't know what our crew chief is doing. And, are they trying to bend the rules? And, this is the 3rd time. So, you don't want Connor to be known as a cheater because he's a great natural talent. And so, I want to encourage that team to follow the rules. You've got a guy who can win races. Spend your time doing things right, testing, and stop trying to bend the rules.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and you put it actually succinctly, because it's a worrying time because you're right, it's not the first time. And so they've been caught foul of the rules twice this year and once last year. And I just,
with
it's
the kid, with the kid that good, you don't need that stuff.
You don't. Great racing though, Zilic though. Back to what's important to him. He's just 17 years of age. He's a former kart world champion, and he continues. It doesn't matter whether it's Miatas or dirt racing or Trans Am. He's on it, and he's all over the 89 right now of Austin Green.
So look at the launch he got up here. He's going to be challenging Austin as they cruise around turn 8 here. If he can get on the outside of him, he could get him going into into the turn here. This is a really critical braking point.
Well, to my friends in Melbourne, Australia and Sydney, Australia, get out of bed, get that hangover over with, get the bacon buddies going, get a bit of Vegemite on it, and let's watch Nathan Hearn bring it home.
Oh, look at that. Zilic got him.
Zilic got him.
Yep, up to third.
Connor Zilic is on a podium position, folks. This is startling. Anybody watching this broadcast knows how hard it is in any motor race, let alone a street race.
I mean, Jonathan, just see what a great launch he got off there.
Yeah.
You know, again, that's what we've been talking about. Road racing is so critical. You've got to get off the corner fast, and there's not anybody better than Connor right now. I mean, he pulled 3 car lengths.
Yeah. Debris at turn 9, we're hearing from race control.
Oh, right there. There it is.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Yeah, that's just on the exit of 9, so I'm glad they pointed that out because you would be blind coming in.
Yeah.
Especially if you were
I
battling.
hope that doesn't lead to a caution, but it could.
Maybe somebody can dash out and pick that up. Not that I'd be the one to do that.
Yeah, I don't know that you should do that. You'd have to, because where it's parked, I don't.
Yeah, you might.
I think you have a official's gate within about 15 yards of that, but we can't put any official in harm's way.
Have a look at how it's nice to see Rafa's on board for a first time. See how you talk about that pretty wheel, Rafa, and we have got a full course yellow coming. So because of that incident, I think.
Well,
so
this
that
plays
will change
into
it
Connor's
again.
hands again, up to third now. That restart, he was 6th, knocked down 3 of them.
Yeah, Nathan's not going to like the news from his engineer that says, "Oh, Zilic is up to third."
Well, you're not going to like the news that you have Rafa and Zilic 2nd and 3rd.
No. Yeah, we got a 2-time champion and a guy who is as hungry. He hasn't been fed for a month when it comes to race wins, and he is out there. There's another parked car.
Well, that's not good. Maybe that's what the full caution.
That could actually be the full caution, yeah. Because the debris will be cleared up now as well. That's the 96 car. So, yeah, I think that's got to be the reason we are stopped. But no question that... So, plenty of action here at Nashville. It's had everything, and there's more to come. Don't go away. Woo! Catch your breath. I'm delighted to have Scott Borchetta alongside me. And I know you want to be out there, but boy, it would be, I tell you what, it would be now a frustrating race in some ways because the concentration level of stop, start is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, but every driver has to deal with it. So that's what you have to tell yourself. It's like, okay, we're all dealing with the same situation. We're all dealing with the cautions. We're all dealing with the track conditions. So you have to put that out of your mind and focus and concentrate. And this is a moment now we're past halfway through the race of going, okay, what's working for me? And again, you're going back to your crew chief, you're going back to your spotter. Where are they beating me? Where am I beating them? And if you look at how great Connor getting low down into the corners, letting it roll through the corners, and then back to the gas, you know, that's where he's beating everybody here. And I'm telling you, this victory may go through Connor Zilic. Even though he's in third, look out.
I know. It would be amazing. And the fact that he could do it both at Detroit and here would be sensational. And I tell you what, that will... Roger Penske, Zach Brown, Sam Schmidt, they'll all be taking Scott Borchetta will all be taking a close look at this because, you know, he is proving beyond a doubt that he is special. There's no question about it. No question about it.
Well, Jonathan, you remember that first race he shows up at VIR a couple of years ago, gets the pole.
Yeah.
And it's like, who is this kid?
Yeah. I remember
when they said Connor's on the pole, I thought it was my teammate Connor Mosak. They said, no, it's Connor Zilic. I'm like, who is that?
Exactly. Well, we're under caution. At the moment, Nathan Hearn of Australia leads this race. Rafa Matas, our 2-time champion, is in 2nd place. Connor Zilic of Silverhair Racing is up to 3rd, having started at the back. It's incredible. We've had a stoppage for the 96. This race has had everything, folks. Mav, I hope you're enjoying it out there because we've had real drama. Now, what we want to hear about is Nathan Hearn and how he's getting on. Let's head down to the pit lane now and talk to Ben Sissel about Nathan Hearn and the Cube 3 car.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm here with Joe Stevens Miller with Cube 3. I came and asked you, will you do an interview? And I can't repeat what he said, but he enthusiastically said yes. What's he saying on the radio?
So Nathan right now is thrilled. Obviously, he's really blessed. All the help from Australia. He wanted to shout out everybody from Australia. He wouldn't be here without them, and this is such a wonderful event. And to be leading it in this kind of circumstances, it's exciting to say the least. So everybody at Q3 and Bearman Products, we're representing really well at Siemens Miller Racing, and I just couldn't be more.
Good day for everybody from Australia, but somebody like Nathan Hearn, who's kind of grown up racing at Bathurst, you know, the walls don't seem that close here, do they?
No, not at all. It's really just the length of these races. His races are closer to 20 laps, you know, and so we have 46 here. So that's the curve that Nathan's been battling a little bit this year, but he's doing wonderfully. He's very consistent with his lap times. He's hitting his marks, and, yeah, I just hope we can pull this one together.
Now, you've lost your voice a little bit, Joe. Is that from a little bit of yelling?
I may have done a little bit of screaming, stay right, stay right. And, of course, when that happens and it works out, the timing's good. That's a thrilling moment as a car chief and a team owner, so I'm thrilled.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, you can hear the excitement here in the crew chief, Joe Stevens. Let's see what happens here. Back to you.
Great stuff, Ben, as always. Great an insight into Nathan Hearn. I can give you one more insight, and Scott, you'll be interested in this. I asked Nathan just before Detroit how he goes at street races, and he said, you know what? I did not only Trans Am and won that, but I did Formula 5000 in Australia, and we had 5. He said we had 6 street races in 5000, a monster car, as you well know, and he won 5 of them. So this guy knows what he's doing with a highly powered car around a street circuit.
Absolutely, and you know what this might be doing for his confidence right now, knowing that he, you know, while the front 2 cars got into an incident, but he was right there, and you've got to be. I always say, if you're top 5, you have a chance to win. And so he was in the right place at the right time. He knows what it looks like and feels to lead. And so, you know, that brings on a whole different experience. You know, him going back to, okay, here's how I won the races back home. And it takes on a whole different confidence and also opportunity. He hasn't had this opportunity to lead yet. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he does on the restart.
Do you think they're having fun?
Oh, my God, look at this. I love it. What a great crowd today for TA2. So, you know, another thing, Jonathan, we got to start looking at is we're down to 16 minutes because, as we know, you know, Trans Am is very specifically 100 miles or 70 minutes.
Correct.
And, you know, you want to get this car out of the way. You don't want to end under caution like we did last year.
No.
And, you know, you want to give Connor a chance to race with Rafa and Nathan. And is that the 26 car?
I've got a feeling it might be.
Riding shotgun on the field?
I just wonder. Well, we'll confirm that in a minute, but I just saw a glimpse of what I thought was the 26 of Merrill. Because it looked a bit banged up from the rear. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that one. But that's the story, of course. Thomas Merrill and Brent Cruz. If you've just joined us, the 2 leaders of the race. Merrill had got into the lead. Brent Cruz was chasing him down. They came across a car that was strewn in the middle of the circuit. And, well, Ty Young was the first to hit it. And then the 2 leaders followed behind and changed the face of this race as we go back on board behind the Honda Civic. Nathan Hearn. Well, I tell you what, we've been talking about the IndyCar team bosses. I bet there's a few texts going around Australia right now going, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because this guy is 22. So let's head down now and let's go for one more word with Ben, who's with silver hair, because they are absolutely not the tortoise. They are the hare. Let's head down to Ben.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I'm here with Maurice Hall, the owner of Silver Hair, and we can't wait till you're back in the car. But another unbelievable performance from Connor Zilic. Worked his way from last to second place. You got to feel really good.
Oh, man, he's awesome. Awesome. This whole crew's done a wonderful job, and he is driving the wheels off this thing. Really proud of him.
So now, as a team owner, what do you do? Because now it seems like he does really, really well. I know he's a really fast, good driver, but it seems like when he's handicapped a little bit, he does exceptionally well.
Get the fire burning.
Get the fire burning. Well, gentlemen, back to you. You heard it from Maurice Hall.
Yep, he's pretty proud. And I tell you what, Maurice took a big gamble taking on both Connor Zilic, even though with his pedigree, because he was only 16 when he joined the team. And he's got Ben Mayer, who's only 14. So that's a big undertaking for a team that's putting out a big outlay. But that was the reason for doing it. He's trying to advertise an arrive and drive situation whereby youngsters can come. And he's had many who've gone on to NASCAR, to name a few. And I'm looking at Brent Cruz coming out of the pit lane. Look at this, folks.
Yeah, so it's showing Thomas Merrill 8 laps down, or 7 laps down. So I don't know where Brent's going to fall, but obviously they are both out there specifically to get points.
Yeah, I saw him. He's behind behind Justin Marks.
And so what happened to Justin? Justin just pulled out of the pits.
Yes. So we're going to go green next time by, and it's, well, you know, Scott, you've watched motor racing all your life. It's days like this where a 22-year-old can suddenly make a name for himself.
Game changer.
Game changer, exactly.
Especially to win, again, winning at Nashville, the biggest stage in Trans Am currently. And this is a big deal because also, too, like last year when I finished on the podium, all my IndyCar friends, you know, Meyer Shank, they called me after the win and said, do you realize you just beat a bunch of guys who get paid to race cars?
I know.
And so, you know, to do it in front of all the drivers and everything else, it's a big, big deal. And don't think for a second, we all have the same disease. We're watching every lap. We're just suckers for all of this. And I guarantee you, the other IndyCar drivers, then the IndyCar team owners, etc., they're watching because we're always watching for talent. And so to win on this stage is a really big deal. And looks like we're going green.
Here we go then. That green flag's about to wave for Nathan Hearn. He waits, he waits, he waits. Go! We are underway. The Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers race restarts with Nathan Hearn of Australia. Can he get into turn 9 cleanly? He certainly made a good getaway. He's locked up the left front. Oh, he almost blew it completely. He still may not be out of trouble yet because he's lost a lot of drive. And here comes Matos. Matos gets alongside. He gets a nose ahead. The next is a left-hander. Hearn holds it together. Brilliant reaction.
Look at Zilic inside.
Zilic on the inside of Matos. He's through to second place. I do not believe this. Great stuff. Matos settles for third and regains his composure, having almost got the lead. What a change around in 2 corners, Scott.
Well, that's what I love about street racing because, you know, what happened is obviously Nathan made a mistake. Matos had to woe up going into turn 10 there, and Connor saw it coming, put his car exactly where it needed to be, and now he's chasing down the leader.
It's one of America's up-and-coming talents against Australia's up-and-coming talent of Nathan Hearn on the streets of Music City. Zilic goes to the outside at 4. He's going to hound the Australian, force him into a mistake if he can. This is the tightest part of the circuit. Scott, there's nowhere to overtake here.
No, you want to set up for coming off of turn 8 here and try to get him, you know, turn 7, turn 8, and then going up into turn 9. Look at that. He swings out wide. He gets a better launch. And Nathan's in trouble, guarantee
Matos will do the same, I'm sure, as we go back on board with green. He's in 4th place. Buford, your car in the 48, is in 5th at the moment. Still plenty of time left. Here we go. Zilic tucking himself up behind Hearn as they cross the bridge. He looks to the outside.
He's going to cross over, watch.
And now the inside.
Yep.
Last of the late breakers. Zilic does it!
Great move. You see he faked that he was going outside, and as soon as Nathan saw that and committed, Zilic screamed over to the inside, and he's taking the lead, and I think he's going to check out.
Guys, if you don't know the name of Connor Zilic before this race, you do now. He did it in Detroit. We are well aware of his talents, but now on this amazing stage here in Nashville, Connor Zilic has gone from the back of the grid to lead here in Nashville. Hearn can't believe it, and Matos is still trying to get on level pegs.
And you know, Nathan is starting to make some mistakes. He's over blocking, and when you do that on a road circuit like this, your launch off the corner only gets hurt by your acceleration. So that's what happened, and how we lost the lead. Made a mistake, too late braking going in, and again, this is where you've got to deliver. You've got to be able to finish. You've got to be able to close.
Yeah, exactly. McAvern, sorry, that's Thad Moffitt.
Thad,
Thad Moffitt behind Darren
That wasn't a good idea.
No.
Stay in line.
Stay in line, son. There's not room at a street race to go to.
Look at Jade coming on here.
Yeah.
Catching
and
up
he's
to
right in a
Austin.
good position as well. He's got good drive out of that last corner that you mentioned. So just locked up for a second. He's all fine, though. But this is the crucial corner coming over this bridge.
Oh, no, he hit. Jay just messed up.
Oh, no,
you know
no,
why
no.
the camera clicked off there? He hit
the wall.
the exit.
And he slowed right down. Oh, sad.
Yeah, he may have a flat tire.
Yeah, and it looks by the car's movement as though that could be the case. Yeah, but the race goes on. Andretti's still in the thick of it. He's with Lostowski. Andretti and Lostowski battling for 6. Oh, no! Austin Green is out. Green has gone to red, and Austin Green, who's had such a run, he's lost power.
No, he's dead stick.
Yep. And look at that. There goes the
and
the
it's so
lap
hard
car.
with this pit in right here.
Yeah, he does make it, thankfully.
Yeah.
But Austin Green, having been at the sharp end in the top 3 throughout most of this race, he too now retiring from this. What a drama we've had here in the Music City. It's been fantastic. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been great getting the insights of Scott Borchetta here and the third running of this famous event. But sadly for Austin Green, it's come to naught, and he's going to conk it out as he heads down the pit lane. He gets it going. He's going to get back to the pits, but only just.
It's missing really bad. Something, whether it's electrical or, it could be something as simple as a plug wire.
Yeah.
Because you can hear that the motor's off song.
So in the last 30 seconds, it looks as though we could well have lost both this man, Austin Green, and Jay Buford, and Buford has stopped. Smart move, though. Pulled it out of the way. They're just going to back him up, and that's a nice, safe. That's good. That's a good racing driver move, not to hold up the race and to sensibly pull off.
So we just have a local yellow there.
Yep, local yellow at the moment. We'll keep an eye on whether it becomes a full course yellow. I think, knowing David Hoops as I do, he'll try to keep this going if he can, especially now we're on a time race and we are on an IndyCar event. So it seems to make sense to me that if everything is clear, which relatively it is, it's not like somebody's stuck in the middle of the track, as Andretti has got past in that battle with Lostowski. And Andretti is up to 4th place behind his old teammate now, Rafa Matos. But look at Zilic pulling away at the front. Masterful by the 17-year-old. Silver hair. Well, he may not have silver hair, but my word, is he representing that team well. Over the bridge.
You mentioned Adam and Rafa, former teammates.
Yeah.
There's always something about a team that you used to race for that you want to beat them. So I guarantee you, if Adam can get close enough.
Well, there's Matos.
Yeah. So Adam's got he's not close enough to do anything about it right now.
Well, you know what? You said it earlier in the broadcast. What this does to the championship, because coming in, I was looking for a sort of what could happen in Nashville that would change the perspective. We've got a long way to go yet. Watkins Glen, we've got St. Louis to come, VIR and COTA, where it all finished last year. So this championship is far from over. And although Brent Cruz had a massive lead coming into this weekend, the only man who he thought could catch him would be Thomas Merrill. And they've both literally gone out of this race. Yes, they're circulating. Yes, they're going to get a couple of points. But it won't be the handy haul that so many others like Rafa Matos will get. And look at this. Lostowski's not settling. Goes past Andretti, and Andretti will come back at him. Good race. 5 minutes to go.
And also, too, those next two guys in line, there's Adam coming back with the crossover. Yeah, he's great at that. But, your next two guys in the championship, ironically, are Rafa and Connor Zilic. So it's a huge, huge day for both of them, and a really tough day for Merrill and for Brent Cruz.
Well, this race has had everything. So, no question about it, as we get down to the 5-minute mark, this race has had everything. But one thing you can say is Zilic is winning. Well, I always love street races because of the unknown factor of what the weather might do. A street race always throws up, who knows what. But this has had everything, hasn't it? It's had great racing, great overtaking, obviously some situations that are getting people's tempers frayed, like should they have brought the yellow flag out, should they not? But this is what you want.
Well, this is hard-nosed muscle car racing. Yeah. It's exactly what you want on the downtown streets of Nashville for the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix.
Yeah, no question about it. And, of course, a host of other races, stadium trucks, Toyota are out there. You've got the SRO are here, and, of course, IndyCar are here this weekend. And I'm sure they're enjoying the thrills and spills of Trans Am. here in its third year. Just 4 minutes to go. Zilic, Hearn, Matos, Andretti, fourth, Lostowski. Bupp up to 6. Well done to Jordan Bupp. Coming in with SLR and M1 and Scott Lagacy Racing. That's a good result for them because he's not been racing much of late. He had a top 10 finish in this race before, but it's an important race for him because he's looking to make a career out of Trans Am in his mid-30s, and he's in the 6th place at the moment. He's going to be pleased with that. I talked to him in the weekend. This battle's good. Andretti and Lostowski are just going for it in the last, 3 minutes now.
Well, Adam is never an easy pass, and believe me, he's going to make that car as wide as possible, and he's never one to give up position, but you can tell his rear tires are going away. He's been racing really hard. You can see that the grip is starting to go away. Adrian got a much better launch coming off of turn 3, so as they come up the hill here, this is going to be interesting to see if Adrian tries to get him on the inside. You see Adam blocking there.
Yep.
Will Adrian try to tuck in? No, he's too far back.
Yeah, and it's too dodgy to outbrake there. But Andretti's wary of that, but he's driving in his mirrors at the moment. I always think that's got to be hard for a racing driver because you're doing everything you can to be as fast as you can, but you've got to watch your mirrors.
Yep, you got to watch your mirrors. Hit your marks.
Welcome back to MAV TV viewers, because we are in for a doozy. We've got 3 minutes left, less than, as Connor Zilic is making his mark in no uncertain terms. He did it in Detroit, around the streets there. They were pleased at the GM headquarters to see him do it, and he's doing it again here in Nashville. It's been a scintillating run by the Chevrolet Camaro of Connor Zilic from the back to the front, as again side-by-side action at 9 between Andretti and Lostowski. Who's going to win this battle, Scott?
You know what? I think Adrian just has a little bit more left with his brake and tires. Yeah. Adam's been running real hard, but there's Adam. He never says die, but see how he's skating around there? I think it's just a matter of time, but again, Adam's a very tough customer to get by. Adrian's got the better car, so it'll just see if he can catch Adam in a mistake here. Adam's going to have to be pretty spot perfect with where his equipment is right now to hold him off.
Well, he's drawing on his inner Andretti because he knows Uncle Mario is watching. He's here this weekend to celebrate the launch of a Borchetta bourbon, and so Mario will have a wry smile to see his nephew doing the business as every Andretti has done in the past.
Yeah, and you can see Adrian got a much better launch coming off of turn 8, coming through here, and will he try? Let's see. Actually, I'm sorry, this is turn 3 going into turn 3. So up First Avenue, and right here, there's that area too where you just don't get 2 cars through. So what you're trying to do there, see, Adam is losing those rear tires. So it's just a matter of time. I think Adrian's got his number. If he gets a good launch here, Adam's spinning, see how the cars are moving around in the back end. Adrian got a much better launch, and Adam's somewhat of a sitting duck here.
Yeah, exactly. Over the bridge they come. The white flag will be next, so it's nip and tuck between these two, but they so desperately want 4th place. 3rd place is probably out of the question, but you never know in a street races. Here comes Lostowski under braking again into 9, and he's got it. But this is where Andretti gets the drive and comes back at him.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see if he can do it, because time is running out. It's going to be the white flag next time by. Can't do it this time. He's got a lap to do it.
Yep, see, Adam's losing the rear.
Yeah, he's got no grip, has he?
Adrian keeps it tidy. He's got him covered.
Yeah. Wow, this has had everything. Well, you had a great battle with this man. There's the white flag, and it is for Connor Zilic. And he's just tiptoeing his way around the track. He's got a good lead of now over 3 seconds to his nearest opponent, which is Nathan Hearn, and that'll be a good day at the office for Nathan. He needed this, did Nathan? A bounce back on one of the biggest challenges of the year. And it was a bit of a worry as to whether he was going to settle into the American scene. And we knew he had the talent, but he needed to prove it on a good weekend, and he's done just that this weekend. But Connor Zilic is rewriting the books. This is fantastic stuff. A former World Kart champion, could have gone into single-seaters, and still at 17 could be in any form of motorsport he wants, whether it be NASCAR, whether it be IndyCar, or whether he stays with Trans Am. But I'd like to see him launch off into a career of brilliance.
Oh, I guarantee you this is just a stepping stone for Connor Zilic. He's going to be, I think he's going to be an Xfinity and Cup driver, but you're right. Coming up through karts, he's got that open wheel experience, and I just love a driver and a racer who can get in any kind of formula and be competitive and be up front and win races. And he's so composed for his age, and He is a fantastic race driver. There it is.
There is the checkered flag. Zilic does it. Let the music play for Connor Zilic, because Music City will erupt tonight and celebrate what was a superb silver hair Chevrolet victory for Connor Zilic. From the back to the front, he's done it. Anything asked of this young 17-year-old, he does it in style. I have not seen a phenomenon in motorsport in my 30 years of following him that looks to the sheer talent of this youngster. And really at 17, you know, we talk about single-seater guys being just the right age at 16 or 17 to make it to the next step. This guy's already there.
Yeah, he really is, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Connor. And, you know, he's very composed inside the car and outside the car. Very friendly, very easy to talk to, and great personality. It's everything that you want in a young race driver, and plenty there also to mold as he becomes more of a star in the sport. You know, he's got the right stuff, man. Keep your eyes on Connor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I saw him at the autograph session, and I said, "Oh man, what happened?" You know, he goes, "Oh," and he was so matter of fact about it, and you know, didn't seem at all perturbed by the fact that he would have to start at the back. And this, you can see these fans are on their feet waving at him.
Again, great crowd here in Nashville. And Jonathan, I have a question for you. Should I stay here and rap with you, or should I run down and hand him the trophy?
You know what? I've got no question about it. I know you're only still limping at the moment, but get over to that podium, Scott Borchetta.
What a pleasure, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Friend.
And I absolutely say congratulations on another fantastic Trans Am race here in Music City.
Well, I got to do a shout out to my mom. I know she's watching. And Mom, love you, and we'll see you soon.
Great stuff. Scott Borchetta, of course, the man whose vision it was to bring this form of motor racing. He races in Trans Am himself and was on the podium here last year, so we grabbed him while he wasn't racing to come to the booth and enjoy what was a fantastic motor race around the Music City. What a way to celebrate Nashville, and there's more to come from this fantastic weekend here in Music City. My thanks to Scott Borchetta, and well done to Connor Zilic. Connor Mozak was up there last year, and he's gone on to bigger and better, and I think this man is just about to break out, because he has done this in front of every IndyCar team manager. If I was a young IndyCar driver now, I'd be not happy to see just how good this kid is in a huge 550 brake horsepower car. And there is that red hair. And congratulations from Nathan Hearn. He knows he was beaten by the faster man today, but he's put on a great spectacle. No question about it. Connor Zilic, Silver Hair Racing, your winner today. It's been quite sensational for this young man. Let's head down to Ben Sissel to hear what he has to say.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Unbelievable, Connor. I don't know what it is, but same thing in Detroit. You start from the back to win the race. Start from the back here to win here at Nashville. Unbelievable. I even told you before the race, I'll see you at the podium. I never expected the top step. This has got to feel good.
Yeah, I had a fire under my butt before that one, and hopefully I put on a show for all the fans. It was awesome looking in the stands and seeing packed stands. That's so cool to race in front of all these people in this awesome town. So just so thankful for my Silver Hair Racing crew. We started from the back, and, they'd never give up on me, and it just means a lot to race for these guys and be able to race for them. Laura and Maurice Hull, they give me the opportunity of a lifetime, and to come out here and make the best of it and come from last to first for the second time this season feels absolutely incredible. So just so grateful for everyone around me. My parents, they do so much for me, and everyone at Chevrolet, Josh Wise, Scott Speed, all those guys, they do so much for me as a driver. So just thankful to be here, and glad I could get it done for my guys.
Nice. Well, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Scott Borchetta wants to personally deliver you the trophy down there. Unbelievable. Nashville, Music City. We made some music here. Connor Zilic, unbelievable. Thank you guys for joining us here in the TA2 series.
As manufacturing problem solvers who navigate design complexity and compressed timing, the three-dimensional services group offers 7 facilities with over 500,000 square feet of dedicated, on-demand manufacturing floor space. Metal or plastic, we support a wide range of industries, from some of the world's best-known companies to startups. With unparalleled investment in leading-edge manufacturing technology and automation to keep all phases of a project in-house.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.